Hi, I'm Bill at Tech Transmission. At Tech Transmission, we offer a free diagnostic road test and recommendation. Let me show you the procedure we go through when checking out your transmission at Tech.
Nobody likes car repairs. They can be expensive and confusing. That's why we're showing you this video called Your Car's Transmission. It's been put together by experts in the transmission industry to help you, the customer, make educated decisions about the repair and maintenance of your car's transmission. It's our hope that it'll take some of the fear and confusion out of transmission repair. But before we explain what a technician is doing when working on your transmission, we'd like to suggest 4 key ways to help save you money on transmission repair. The first key is preventative maintenance. Many repair costs can be avoided with regularly scheduled service and checkups. Ask the professional you've chosen for his recommended service intervals. The second key to saving money is early detection. This means getting your vehicle to a transmission specialist at the first sign of trouble. Many times, small transmission problems are driven into big problems, which leads to expensive repairs. Catch the problem early and you'll save on repair costs. The third key is getting an accurate diagnosis, which pinpoints the problem, so you don't have to pay for unnecessary repairs. The fourth key is fixing the cause as well as the problem. Partial repairs or the use of cheap replacement parts can result in more expense later on. A transmission is an extremely complex system, especially with today's late model cars that are often electronically or computer controlled. It's crucial to the performance of your car because a transmission takes the power from the engine and efficiently transfers it to the wheels, which move the vehicle. When operating properly, a transmission permits optimal engine performance. When not operating properly, it can cause many problems. So let's take a look at the steps a technician uses when checking out your vehicle's transmission. There are 3 and sometimes 4 steps to a transmission checkup and/or repair. The first step is the diagnostic pre-check. The second step involves testing the transmission and related components. The third step is the transmission inspection. And the fourth step is the actual repair. We're going to break these steps down for you and let you see what a technician does when he works on your transmission. In the first step, the diagnostic pre-check, a technician will begin to diagnose the problem by first asking you for the service and repair history of your vehicle, as well as having you describe any symptoms you've experienced. You may be asked to complete a diagnostic pre-check questionnaire. The information you provide is important. It gives them a solid foundation to start from. Next, the technician checks the transmission fluid. As the Better Business Bureau says in its transmission tips pamphlet, the transmission fluid is the lifeblood of an automatic transmission. It's not only a hydraulic fluid that moves the internal transmission parts, but properly maintained fluid cools, cleans, and lubricates the parts inside the transmission. Because transmissions are sealed and do not consume fluid, low fluid indicates that the transmission is leaking. If the fluid level is below the safe operating range or the fluid is contaminated or burnt, the transmission may have already been damaged. This is the reason that your vehicle's transmission fluid should be checked regularly. A good rule of thumb is to have it checked 4 times a year at the beginning of each new season. The second step of a transmission checkup involves running some basic diagnostic tests. The technician will take your vehicle for a road test to check the performance of the transmission. He'll also do an external adjustment and visual check. He's looking for adjustments that might need to be made and checking other related components as well, which include parts like drive lines, axles and universal joints, hydraulic and vacuum lines, exhaust systems, and other parts. He's also checking for fluid leaks. Keep in mind that it may be necessary to remove the transmission oil pan to check for any signs of abnormal wear or damage. And if your transmission is electronically or computer controlled, special equipment may be used to perform more extensive diagnostic tests. If either of these steps is required, there may be a modest charge, but this would be explained to you before it's done. If the tests reveal that an adjustment, minor repair, or service will correct the problem, you would be given a repair estimate, and with your approval, the recommended services should be done before you continue to drive the vehicle, rather than taking the risk of driving a relatively minor condition into a major, more costly problem. If the diagnosis is inconclusive or indicates that an internal problem exists, the transmission will normally need to be removed, disassembled, and inspected in order to identify the damage and, most importantly, find the cause of the problem. And this leads us to the third step, the transmission inspection. Internal inspection fees vary from vehicle to vehicle. For example, front-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, large trucks and RVs usually require more time when it comes to repairs requiring transmission removal. The service advisor will explain the details and get your consent prior to the inspection. Once the transmission has been removed and disassembled, it's inspected for damage and the cause of the problem. During the inspection, every component from the transmission is checked. There are certain parts in every transmission that are designed to wear. These parts are made to protect other major, more expensive parts, and they include bushings, thrust washers, bearings, seals, gaskets, and friction elements, like clutches and bands. Sometimes replacement of these parts is all that's required to repair a transmission. However, in many cases, because of prolonged or severe use, major transmission parts have been damaged. In this case, these hard parts, as they're called in the industry, will also need to be repaired, rebuilt, or replaced. A partial list of these parts would include pumps, planetary gears, clutch drums, final drives, input shafts, output shafts, and drive chains. Most transmissions also have a sealed torque converter. This part is connected to the engine and transmission. It shares fluid with the transmission to help make a smooth transfer of power from the engine. A defective torque converter can actually cause transmission damage, so it also needs to be carefully checked. When the inspection is completed, the service advisor will present you with an explanation of your repair options and what needs to be done in terms of time and materials. This is commonly called the parts and labor estimate. The warranty will be explained to you. Warranty terms often depend on the repair option selected. Once you approve the repairs, the fourth step, the transmission repair, begins. Parts that meet or exceed the original manufacturer's quality standards are used to assure you lasting performance. Each step of the assembly process is carefully performed, paying strict attention to overall cleanliness, proper fit, and alignment. Next, the transmission and related components are carefully reinstalled into your vehicle. All nuts and bolts are properly torqued and final adjustments are made. Finally, a technician will perform a thorough road test to confirm that everything is working properly. The service advisor will then go over the warranty and repair order with you. Make sure you understand all the work that was done and the terms of the warranty. You may be asked to return for a recheck of the transmission's performance. This may even be a requirement of the warranty. Regardless, it's recommended that you return at least once a year for a transmission service checkup. And remember, if you ever have concerns about your transmission, bring it in immediately. It's better to catch problems early, while they're still minor, instead of driving them into major problems. Also remember the 4 keys we went over at the beginning of this video, which will save you money on all automotive repairs. Key 1 is preventative maintenance, which means getting your transmission checked about 4 times a year or at the beginning of each new season. Key 2 is early detection, which simply means getting your vehicle to a transmission specialist at the first sign of trouble. Key 3 is getting an accurate diagnosis. This means making sure that your vehicle is thoroughly tested for all possible problems. Key 4 is fixing the cause, which means getting the whole problem fixed. Well, we hope this video has helped you understand what goes into the repair and maintenance of your transmission. If you have any unanswered questions, be sure and ask your technician or service advisor. It's their job to make you feel completely comfortable with your transmission service. Your satisfaction is their #1 priority. We'll see you on the road.